After 806 races across 10.5 months, Hong Kong's racing season comes to an end this Sunday at Sha Tin, and there's still plenty up for grabs. Here's what's coming up on this edition of HK Direct. And the discussion points of the trainers' title battle between John Size and John Moore, Zach Purton's tilt at a record, plus we're going to look back on the top 10 performances from this season. David Morgan and Tom Wood are my special guests on the season finale of HK Direct. David, I'll start off with you. This is a trainers' title battle that we've been building up over the last few months. How important was Wednesday night in deciding who might take out the title?
Well, we'll find out on Sunday how important Wednesday was, but from John Size's point of view, it could prove to be vital. When John Moore drew level, there was a tangible elation and relief and expectation in the Moore camp. You could feel it, you could see it, the way they celebrated that win that drew level. And then that dropped off when John Size struck back with that double. The Moore camp wasn't expecting. They thought they were going to go and get another couple of wins. John was very confident going into that meeting, so for them to come out two behind was a real blow to the John Moore camp. So it could prove vital for John Size. Those two wins ahead could be massive.
Thomas, I welcome you to the show. The scoreline reads 76-74. How do you read how Sunday could play out?
I think John Size has got 4 winning chances on the program. Monkey Jewellery's been in good form. He's got Door, who just hasn't quite been able to get through this season, but he's been good enough to suggest a win is potentially there for him. Time to celebrate in the Mile Trophy. I think he's a genuine chance. Joe Moreira's riding him, and also he's the one for us. He won a terrific race first up by a very short margin. He didn't go down too far recently. He's had a really good recent trial as well. So I think those 4 horses are John's 4 genuine chances. I think he certainly has potentially pulled it out of the fire after Wednesday night's 2 victories with True Grit, who was in superb form, and also in the last race, Tornado Twist. Those are the 2 that I think pulled it out of the fire to give him a real fighting chance going into the last day.
Rules are important in this contest, Dave. John Size leads by 2. For John Moore, drawing level's not good enough, is it?
Well, it comes down first to the seconds. So yeah, it would be John Moore's got it to do, really. You've got to look at it now. With those 2 wins were massive, as we're saying. John's going to look to strike early, John Moore. He's got above in the opener that he thinks has got a big chance. He's got a couple of those early doors that John Moore really needs to get those on the board early. He knows that. And I asked him this morning, if you're going into the last with Thanks Forever, are you happy to have him as the one that might be the one that you need? And he said he's very happy to have Thanks Forever, that it is the horse that he might need to rely on. He thinks that's got a big chance as well.
Tom, John Moore, he's got the weight of numbers on his side, hasn't he, with 11 runners?
He does. He's got a horse in every race bar 1. I agree with Dave about above. He's a genuine chance in that first race on the program. Smart Rocket's been in good form, and can't forget about Buddies. He's been able to win 3 races for John this season. He's only a 3-year-old, so he'll be real progressive again next season. Thanks Forever, he's really interesting in the last race because he bombed out last time out. We know he's got bleeding issues, so I think it's going to be touch and go now for John Moore.
And Dave, you've been covering Hong Kong racing throughout this decade. The term heavyweight has been used to describe these 2 trainers. How would you describe them?
Heavyweight would do. I mean, they are the big guns. They're the 2 men that set the standard for everybody else. You look at through this season, what John Size has been able to do has been incredible. He's had horses like True Grit, Champion's Way, that he's progressed, that they've won 5, 6 races apiece. That's very difficult to do here. And he does this fairly consistently. He gets multiple wins from horses, young horses coming up. Then you look at John Moore, what he's done with Beauty Generation to keep that horse at a peak through 8 runs to break that record. They're both fantastic trainers. They're great trainers in the Hong Kong scheme of things. They might be great trainers on the world scheme. They're excellent horsemen. So we shouldn't ever underplay how good these 2 trainers are. And it's a great battle to see them both coming into this last day.
Tom, you would have been enjoying watching the Cricket World Cup recently. Would you rather, coming into this battle though, be leading or chasing?
I think at this point I'd rather be leading, and John Size is leading. Those 2 wins were just crucial. He's just had horses like True Grit firing in the back end of the season, probably unexpected for a horse like him to win 5. So I think at this point I'd rather be in John Size's camp, leading with a couple of wins because he's got those seconds on his side. So if it comes down to the count back, we know who wins there.
So Size is your pick?
He is.
Dave, whose side are you on here?
It's a difficult one, but I'm going to go with Tom. I think those 2 wins and the fact that he's got the count back advantage if it draws level, that's huge for John Size. It's going to be very touch and go. It's going to be tight. I'm looking forward to a really exciting day. I think John Moore is going to nail a couple of wins early. and then the heat's on, and it could really go either way. No one can say for certain which way it's going to go, but just because John Sizer's got those 2 wins, they're in the bag. That's huge.
Okay, so the boys predicting then that it will be an 11th trainers title here in Hong Kong for John Size come Sunday. Before we move on, let's hear from the 2 Johns themselves.
He can win a couple of races quickly and get there quite easily in the halfway through the day, and then it'll make it difficult. So I think, again, as I've said before, it's just a matter of who has the luck leading up to the last race, and we'll see how we go.
We've got to go back. History's got to repeat itself back to when I trained 4 winners to beat Tony Cruz. I think it was a 14-15 season. So we'd really have to put on a good show on Sunday to down John. So fingers crossed. A little bit of luck in running, and you know, he could go right to the last race. But great for the public, not so good for the stress levels and everything, but exciting for all concerned, and I hope we can pull it off, because I never give up.
From the trainers then, let's move on to the jockeys. And coming into this season, Dave, we probably expected Zac Purton to be champion jockey, but he's done it in some style, hasn't he?
It's been fantastic. If you think that at the start of the season, yeah, we all thought with Joe Moreira not here, we thought Zac's going to be champion jockey. But to get to the position he's in, to actually be challenging 170 wins that Joe Moreira got, is phenomenal. When Joe set that target, we all thought, no one's going to beat this. Maybe Joe possibly could, but no one else can do this. So for Zac to be there is phenomenal. And we've seen him put 6-timers on the board. We've seen him ride 4-timers, trebles for fun. He's been in sensational form the last few months particularly. And he needs 5 wins to match. He needs 6 wins to go 1 better. Five wins to go 1 better. You wouldn't bet against him doing it, even though it's going to be tough by his own admission.
Tom, you would have watched Zac Purton ride from afar and got to call him winning Kranji Mile in Singapore. What have you noted about him, though, watching up close this season?
Just the confidence that he's got. I think a classic case of the confidence comes down to that ride that was on Wednesday night with High Rev, where he took off at the bottom of the hill, basically whipped around them and caught all the rest of them napping. He won by about 6 lengths. We haven't seen a horse win at Happy Valley like that for a long time, and I was just going back and looking at the numbers last night, and he needs those 5 wins. He's only had a 5-timer once, but he's had those 6-timers 4 times. He was that close from a 7-timer here when he was done out on Glorious Artist, but 27 doubles through the course of the season, 13 trebles, 5 times that he's ridden 4 winners. So the confidence that he's just been oozing all season has been unbelievable.
Has he got the book of rides to do it on Sunday?
It's going to be touch and go, I think. You look at his rides, he's got the first couple there in the weaker races above, who looks to be a genuine chance. Adonis has sort of been there or thereabouts. My winner's been in good form. He's got defining moment for Rick Casper. Good standing, who won the Hong Kong Macau Trophy Cordyceps. He's had an interesting few runs recently, so Zac jumps on board there for Francis Loy. Again, I think a bit like the Trainers' Premiership in terms of Zac, it's a bit touch and go.
We know what Zac's like when you talk to him, Dave. Friday morning at track work, he was playing down his own chances. From your point of view, how do you see things playing out for Zac come Sunday?
I think he needs to get a couple of wins on the board early to set the standard, to set where he's at and to springboard on. I do think it's going to be tough. Let's be realistic. It's going to be difficult.
I don't want to say no, but I think he needed to have at least 3 on Wednesday night. Another one would have been a bonus to be any chance on Sunday, but never say never.
Only a double, not a bad night on Wednesday night, but perhaps not quite good enough to break this record.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I'm putting words into his mouth, but I think he might have been a little bit disappointed leaving Wednesday night with just the 2. Because of the way that the Moore camp was so confident going in, and Zac would have known he would have needed 3 or 4 to put himself in with a really good chance on Sunday. 5's a tough ask. If he rides 5, that's incredible on the last day of the season. We've got real tough races, some very competitive races where he looks like he's got good chances, but you can pick 4 or 5 other good chances. So if he rides 5 winners, it'll be phenomenal. Okay. And I'm using that word overly, but it really would be.
Okay, well, one thing's for sure, he will be taking out his 3rd championship here in Hong Kong on Sunday, which is a remarkable achievement in itself. Okay, so that's Sunday, but that brings to an end Sunday's meeting in Hong Kong, a season that's gone for 10.5 months and has produced some wonderful moments. Here are the team's thoughts on the top 10 performances for season 2018-2019.
Way. Kaying starts fighting on strongly. Champions Way's got his head in front, wins it. Exultant's got a fight on his ham. He starts to edge clear from Pakistan Star. Dark Dream and Rise High. The Vase, the Gold Cup, and now the champions and Chater. Beat the Clock Ratton, they'll pair off to fight it out. Beat the Clock Ratton, Beat the Clock puts his head in front. It's a second Group 1 for Beat the Clock. Ferrore broke clear from Dark Dream, Sunny Speed and White Cuckoo. Ferrore's got the derby parcelled up. Frankie Law, what a moment. Glorious Forever fends off his brother. It's like an old backyard stoush between Glorious Forever and Time Warp. Deirdre late, Glorious Forever. What a day for Frankie Law. He's sitting pretty at the moment, Purton, on Beauty Generation. This powerhouse miler here in Hong Kong, laying out under pressure. 3 in front from Beauty Only, and Beauty Generation gets it done. Beat the Clock wider out, DB Pin. Mr. Stunning in front from DB Pin, and Beat the Clock. Mr. Stunning, he's the man. Wins the sprint again for Karis Teeton. Windbright, Glorious Forever. Pakistan Star, Windbright goes to him. Windbright is roaring away. Japan do it again. It's Exultant and Lee's Crusher. Clear from Azira, then Pakistan Star and Eagle Way. Exultant and Lee's Crusher. A real cliffhanger in the bars. Exultant fights back and wins for Hong Kong. Beauty Generation at the 150. This is 100% pure Group 1 power. Beauty Generation 5 in front. Viv Lawson, Southern Legend. He is invincible, Beauty Generation. What a champion he's going to be. What a champion he already is.
Zach Purton featuring there in the top moment for the season. Beauty Generation's annihilation in this year's Hong Kong Mile. Dave, some wonderful moments this season. Obviously, Beauty Generation being the standout horse. Exultant has done some wonderful things on the track. For you, is there a standout moment or performance?
I think Beauty Generation in the mile was stunning. He'd be right up there just for the pure brilliance of that Group 1 level. But the standout performance for me was when he won the Group 2 the time before, where the race went a slightly different pattern to usual, and then the pattern went completely off the board when he drifted across the track. He had that issue with his foot, and he still went on and smashed the track record. That was incredible. That was the day that you knew Beauty Generation just wasn't just an ordinary Group 1 horse, that this was something a bit special.
For you, Tom, this has been your first season here in Hong Kong. What's been your highlight?
Hard to go past Beauty Generation. I'm going to be a bit greedy and have a couple. The rise of Vincent Ho through the course of the year, what he's had a couple of Group 3 victories, Ho Ho Khan and the Queen Mother Memorial Cup and the Premier Plate with Rise High. He's had a fantastic season. Last year he racked up, 24 wins. This season he's up to 55 and 4th in the Premiership. But I think the standout performance of Frankie Law's horses through the course of the 4-year-old series, basically sweeping all 3 legs. Furore, culmination there in the BMW Hong Kong Derby, but Frankie's had an awesome season. 2 Group 1s on International Day though, and hard to beat for Frankie there.
Absolutely right. It's been a wonderful season. It all comes to an end this weekend. You can join Tom Wood and the trackside team for all of the action on a monster 11 race card. Coverage starts at 12 o'clock. Feature races are the Sha Tin Mile Trophy and also the Hong Kong Racehorse Owners Association, which is a cracking race to finish up the season here in Hong Kong. You can read all the fallout from the meeting with Dave Morgan going to the website and also follow us through social media. So that's it for the show for today and also for this season. Tom, Dave, I think it's time we put up our feet for a few weeks before getting going again.
Looking forward to it, looking forward to the rest, but looking forward to the new season as well.
It's been a great season, Dave, and a lot to look forward to for the following season.
Sure, we've got some really nice young horses coming through, like Athero, Champions Way, just to name 2. It's going to be exciting.
It will be indeed. We look forward to your company, not only on Sunday, but also for next season. Thanks for your time. Have a good summer.